Hi guys, I'm Ben. I'm the CEO of Juntos. Juntos means together in Spanish, and we make an automated conversation platform that allows banks in emerging markets to be able to engage their customers who are opening up bank accounts for the first time ever. So financial inclusion is one of the themes of Sibos this year, and I'd love to kind of tell a story about a sort of typified customer that financial inclusion is intended to serve. I'm going to name him Juan. That's not his real name, but Juan is lives in Colombia in a dense city. He grew up in a small town but moved there and is married, and he and his wife just had their first baby. A year ago, though, Juan opened the first bank account that he's ever had in his life. Bank branches don't exist in the part of town where he lives, but he heard on the radio one of the largest banks in the country was advertising a new account that didn't have to be opened in the branch, but instead could be opened entirely on your phone. Not a smartphone, but a basic feature phone. Juan opened the account because he wanted to have a safe place to hold his money. And he also wanted to be able to send money home to his mother, who still lived in the town where he grew up. Once Juan opened up the account, though, he wasn't exactly sure how to use it. He didn't know where he could go to deposit money, and he actually walked every day on the way to work past a corner store that was deputized as a bank to do bank transactions, but he never knew that he could do that there. He didn't know how to send the money to his mother without making a mistake that he worried would end up with his money in the hands of a total stranger. As a result, Juan never ended up using the account. And financial inclusion failed Juan and the bank that was trying to serve him. Juan is one of many, many people in markets like Colombia, Brazil, South Africa, India. It is the norm for deployments to the poorest segments of these markets, to people who are entering the industry for the first time ever. Of 60 to 90% of all of those accounts that get opened fall inactive within the first months of opening or never get used at all. The World Bank estimates that 1.9 billion adults have opened up accounts and don't use them as a store of value. So it is a huge challenge in financial inclusion. It means that providers are missing out on all the opportunity of serving new markets. And it means that financial services then, even when they're getting in the hands of people, are not actually serving the customer. And that's what we believe is possible to change. Juntos makes automated conversation platforms that allow a bank, after they've signed up customers, the banks pay us monthly user subscriptions to engage their customers through automated conversations. Those conversations to the end user look just like text message conversations coming back and forth, just like they would text a friend. On the back end, though, it's an automated computer that people are talking with that creates warm, personalized conversations at mass scale for this customer. People talk with Juntos about the new bank account that they've opened. Juan can ask, where is it that, nearby where I live, that I can go and deposit? Where is it that how am I able to get my money back if I put it in? How do I make that transfer to my mom? People also, though, we find, talk with Juntos about their financial lives more generally. They share their hopes and their dreams and what they're saving for and what they're struggling with as the relationship deepens. And so as a result, it provides a new channel not just for the customer to understand new things about the bank and its products, but also for the bank to more deeply understand this new customer that they're really trying hard to serve and to understand better. Our first deployment was with one of the largest banks in Latin America. They paid for us to engage 40,000 of their clients who were opening up accounts for the first time ever. They wanted to see, could you increase our active client rate, because they were facing the same challenge that is being observed globally, which is the majority of these clients weren't putting a single peso into the account. And so midway through the contract, they came back to us with the results of what had happened. This was only after 3 months. And it turns out that they had seen their active client rate had increased by 1/3 above where it was in the control, and their average balances in the portfolio were 50% higher than they had been previously. I think it speaks to, hopefully, Juntos doing something right, but even more so about the opportunity that is in front of the entire industry. That if we invest in the post-account user experience,
ladies and gentlemen, you're halfway through. There's 5 minutes remaining.
It transforms not just their engagement with financial services that they're using, but also the profitability of serving the poor. I think, largely because of this kind of opportunity to change the story about financial inclusion, the G20 named Juntos the global winner of their Innovation Award for Financial Inclusion. We currently work in 4 countries with institutional partners who are paying us to engage 200,000 of their clients. The Juntos team brings together 3 things that are essential to unlock this opportunity: customer-centric design, high technology, and operating experience in the markets where you're working. My co-founders, my co-founder Katie worked, she built a financial institution in the Democratic Republic of Congo, basically in the midst of a war zone. My co-founder Dante graduated, who's our CTO, graduated from Stanford in computer science, and then worked at Intuit for 5 years in their innovation labs, during which time he won 2 of the company's highest corporate awards for innovation and leadership. And I was trained at Stanford in customer-centric innovation and product development. We're backed by Silicon Valley investors, aligned partners, and Omidyar Network, which is the investment vehicle for the founder of eBay. And we're here at Sibos looking to connect with the most innovative banks in Latin America and East Africa, which are the 2 regions where we're scaling, who are interested in working together to redefine the landscape of financial inclusion. So.
Fantastic. Well, I'm not one of those, but I think that's awesome. Well done.
Thank you.
It's a great product.
Do you guys have any questions?
So you have a sort of artificial intelligence platform, or you're answering the questions just based on that's the software.
Yeah, I mean, in a my CTO Dante would jump in and say, well, technically speaking, artificial intelligence is a very specific, it's not artificial intelligence, but for a dumb person like me, like it seems like it, but really it's more. We do have a system that's able to process what people are saying and doing, and what they're not saying and doing, in order to optimize the experience for each person. And we really approach that by every deployment that we go into. We, of course, are doing research on the ground with customers to have our best guess of what conversations are going to be resonant with each local context. But we start with that, and then we do iterations. And what we've really invested in internally in our technology and our team process is the ability to dramatically change the cost curves of how fast you can iterate, so that we can A/B test dozens and eventually hundreds of things within each local context to learn from the customers themselves what actually resonates and what they want to talk about and how they want to talk about it. Because in every single place, it's going to be different. And so that's the way that we then are able to create, basically highly localized solutions in every deployment, but in a very scalable way.
So what kind of improvements have you seen in deployments?
Yeah. Well, so for example, in Colombia, when we first started, we could get 4% of any of the customers that we were exposed to engage with Juntos past the first month. By the end of the first month, it was 12% of any new customers were then engaging in the second month. By the end of the third, it was 18%, and now it's over 30% of any customers that we're exposed to completely cold through these text message channels we can get to engage. And that's really the result of trusting that the answer is out in the market, in the hands of your customers, and if you listen to them respond to that, you can then reach things that are far better solutions than what you ever could have thought of, sitting in a room, no matter how hard or how smart people were. Yeah.
So you come into a new bank and you have your ideas of the conversations that you're going to start, or the bank says, these are the conversations you want to have with our customers, or that's kind of something you work on together?
Yeah, so we collaborate with the bank for them to define, this is what we really care about. This is what we would really love to see our customers, understand and achieve. And then we go out in the field and at the beginning of each deployment, do ethnographic kind of deep dive interviews to understand better sort of how people see the world that we're going to be engaging with. But then it's around, yes, we have initial guesses, and then it's like letting the results and the data kind of tell us what's working and what's not, and things that don't resonate and get a grand silence from people, like you kind of chop off that kind of arm of the decision branching logic and build from what is working.